On a cool fall morning, Emily Harper knelt on the lawn in front of her house, lacing her shoelace, entirely oblivious to the fact that two patrolmen were steadily making their way, hands resting near their holsters. "Ma'am, take a step back and keep your hands up," one of them snapped, voice stretched tight with suspicion. Emily, wearing a hoodie and frayed joggers, her legally holstered pistol comfortable on her hip, looked up, half smiling, half bewildered. The officers looked at her as if she were going to hold up a bank. One struggled with his radio and grumbled, "Suspect is armed, female, possible threat, neighborhood complaint." But then his gaze fell upon the glint of the badge clipped to Emily's waistband, catching the morning sun. The mood changed in an instant. The second officer's face went pale. "Chief Harper, you're Chief Emily Harper," he stammered, stepping back as though he'd just seen a ghost. Across the street, Margaret Voss, HOA president, stood holding her yapping terrier and whispering into her phone with a smug grin, completely unaware of the disaster she had just triggered. She had no idea that the armed lunatic she'd called 911 about was really the new police chief, and that a false 911 report was a felony that could destroy her entire tightly managed world. It wasn't an impulsive battle. Margaret had been quietly fighting war for months, attempting to spin the tranquil neighborhood street into her own fiefdom. Elected to a third term as HOA president by a suspiciously low vote and a conveniently scheduled potluck, she operated with absolute authority, doled out fines like a medieval tax collector, $25 for unmown grass, $50 for chalk art on driveways, $100 for Christmas lights still up too long. Her latest crusade? A self-proclaimed ban on visible firearms, even though the state's open carry laws permit them, and even though Emily's calming presence kept residents from panicking after a spate of recent burglaries. To Margaret, Emily's holstered weapon wasn't security, it was defiance. 2 days earlier, Margaret had barged uninvited into Emily's yard as Emily cleaned her pruning shears. "You'll be fined $500 a day for that weapon being in public view," she snapped. Unfazed, Emily explained she was off duty, fully within her rights, and that the HOA had no legal power over personal firearms. Margaret sneered, "I'd expect more of a person in your station. You should lead by example, not appear to be ready to take on a shootout." Emily's serene smile didn't falter. "I am leading by example, Margaret, one that honors the law, not your pride." Margaret stormed away, muttering, "I'll take care of this," and did by dialing 911. That fateful day when Emily went outside, the officers, who had visibly been shaken upon discovering who she was, started stuttering apologies. "Chief, dispatch just radioed armed female, and the HOA president said it was urgent," one of them grumbled. Emily nodded. "You did." But when the board proposed a vote of no confidence, she laughed, nervously. The outcome, 28 for removing her, unders 2 to retain her, unders to 1 abstention. Margaret stormed out, furious. Investigations revealed $75,000 in missing HOA funds for a bogus security company she had established. Her defamation suit against Emily imploded after chat logs appeared of her ridiculing Emily and scheming her ouster. The judge, apparently incredulous, cautioned her regarding false claims. Her attorney, a glistening billboard mainstay, pleaded for a recess. The suit was dismissed. Margaret broke down in public, raving at a barbecue with a megaphone about police drones and conspiracies. A marshal walked her away as children cried and parents gazed. She was the neighborhood joke. Her tirades were edited and posted online as Margaret's greatest hits. Emily remained vigilant, recording cryptic threats, once from Margaret's former husband, a former treasurer in their HOA. A restraining order ensued. Taking the experience as a teaching opportunity, Emily started training other officers on HOA abuse and false reporting, testifying at town halls on due process and community trust. Her tale was a case study in deposing petty tyranny through documentation and perseverance. Margaret's house went into foreclosure. A raid of her storage unit found HOA surveillance drones, stolen goods, and a list of priority threats, some minors marked as skateboarding offenders. Federal agents opened an investigation. In a final desperate attempt, Margaret appeared on a podcast presenting herself as a whistleblower revealing Emily's deep state connections. But the raw video, released by one of Emily's former students, caught her confessing to making up her grievances. Pleading for a reduced sentence, she fingered other HOAs she had conned. Her property was auctioned off, including a broken surveillance drone marked with a note, "For Chief Harper, with regret." Emily gave it to a drive for technology education. Unfazed, the community recovered. Sea Point sidewalks lined with chalk art. Parks hosted Easter egg hunts. The former HOA office was converted into a resource library. Emily declined the ribbon-cutting ceremony, visiting only as a neighbor. A teenager once cited for skateboarding presented her with a card. "Thanks for showing one person can make a difference." A state bill was passed, dubbed Emily's Law, requiring HOA transparency. During the block party honoring the bill, neighbors danced barefoot to rock standards under the stars, while children ran wild beneath them. Emily stood quietly, observing the night progress.